Keanu Reeves' life was forever altered by the Matrix, leading him to prioritize safety in unexpected ways. On his first day on set, a directive to kick him took an unusual turn as Reeves calmly guided someone out instead, setting the tone for strange events to follow. What could have driven Hollywood to turn its back on Keanu Reeves despite his lasting charm? Join us as we reveal into the untold story of the kindest guy in Hollywood, the turbulent path of Keanu Reeves. In 1999, The Matrix catapulted his career to new heights. However, that same year, his sister finally entered remission after a long battle with cancer, only for tragedy to strike again. His girlfriend, Jennifer Syme, gave birth to a stillborn child, and shortly after, she died in a car accident. These events deeply affected him, yet he continued to show remarkable strength and generosity. As they stepped into the cool night air, Keanu's eyes locked with his, a deep intensity reflecting his own turmoil. "Listen," he whispered urgently, "everything you know about reality, about this film, it's only the surface. You're not just here to act, you're here to uncover the truth." Over the years, he has faced scrutiny both professionally and personally. Some people see his modest lifestyle as a sign of a fading career. In 2008, he was sued by a photographer who claimed he injured him with his car, but the case was dismissed, proving that he was not at fault. Despite these challenges, he keeps exploring new creative avenues, starring in various films and trying his hand at directing and documentary filmmaking. Even when some tried to push him out of Hollywood, his fans couldn't understand why anyone would dislike him. This feeling came up again when Matthew Perry criticized him in his memoir, which led to a strong defense of him online. Perry eventually apologized, but he wasn't the first to express such sentiments. In a 2019 interview with GQ, he talked about being blacklisted by Fox Studios after he refused to do a sequel to the 1994 hit Speed, even though Sandra Bullock returned for it. Jason Patric and Willem Dafoe took the roles he turned down. In hindsight, he made the right choice, as Speed 2 Inches was a critical failure and even won an award for being the worst sequel. During his conversation with GQ, he revealed that Fox kept him out of their projects for a whole decade. However, he made a notable comeback with the 2008 sci-fi film The Day the Earth Stood Still, where he played an alien warning humanity to change its destructive ways. The film, loosely based on the 1951 classic, was directed by Scott Derrickson and offered a thought-provoking look at modern environmental issues. When discussing the film's themes, he recognized its relevance to today's conversations about environmentalism and praised those who are raising awareness. His dedication to his values is also clear in his professional choices. In a Wired interview, he spoke about his refusal to give in to invasive digital manipulations like deepfakes. He prefers minimal digital interference and recalled an instance from the early 2000s when a digital tear was added to his performance, which he found unsettling. He is a strong advocate for preserving the integrity of actors, warning against the overuse of advanced editing technologies that could diminish an actor's creative essence. His stance not only shows his commitment to artistic authenticity, but also his broader concerns about the film industry's future in the face of rapid technological change. Nirvana expressed his deep appreciation for NFT digital art, finding it both fascinating and innovative. He admired how these digital tools could create intricate and beautiful pieces. However, he also noted the troubling presence of corporate power behind these creations. Nirvana was concerned about the cultural and social impacts of digital art, questioning its true value and how it might shape society. He wondered about the kind of content that would be pushed into our lives and the subtle ways it might influence us. He shared similar concerns, criticizing the system of control that seems to be embedded within these technologies. He compared it to a sensory overload, like a grand show meant to distract and manipulate us, drawing a parallel to Plato's cave, where people see only shadows and not the real world. He went on to criticize deepfakes, a technology he encountered while working on John Wick, Chapter 4. Janelle Crawshaw-Ralla, the visual effects supervisor, explained that he performed in scenes enhanced by CGI, blending real action with digital effects. Despite the seamless integration, he remained a strong advocate for authenticity in his work, open to technology only when it was necessary. Jonathan Rothbart, another visual effects supervisor, discussed the challenges of filming in sandy environments, where digital corrections were needed to keep scenes looking sharp. Even with these digital tweaks, he stayed committed to keeping things as real as possible, only embracing technology when it was truly needed. But the story doesn't end here. In a completely different setting, comedian Cat Williams made waves with his bold humor during an interview, where he blamed other comedians and actors for holding him back. His comments sparked both laughter and controversy, leaving viewers to ponder the risks of blaming others for personal failures. Unlike Williams, he is known for his quiet and private nature. Despite being a top Hollywood star, he manages to keep his personal life out of the public eye while still engaging with the media, offering just enough to maintain his privacy while staying present in the public sphere. 2 years after they went their separate ways, Syme found herself leaving a gathering at Marilyn Manson's home in Los Angeles. On her way out, she accidentally crashed into 3 parked cars, causing her vehicle to flip over. Tragically, she was thrown from the car and lost her life in the accident. At the time, she was receiving treatment for depression, and authorities later found 2 different prescribed medications in her car. As we turn the page, the resilience of Keanu Reeves promises more lessons in strength and humility in the face of adversity. Keanu Reeves paused from The Matrix. During this difficult time, Keanu Reeves was just about to start filming 2 back-to-back Matrix movies. But when he received the heartbreaking news of Syme's passing, he had to stop everything. Since that day, he hasn't been seen with another woman, nor has he openly talked about this painful chapter of his life. Fans of the John Wick movies might see a connection between his character and his own life. Both portray someone deeply mourning the loss of a loved one. In an interview with The Guardian, he explained how he draws from his personal grief when taking on roles like John Wick. He mentioned that his own life struggles have shaped the way he portrays such deep sorrow, noting that some sadness never truly goes away. But this wasn't the first time he faced such tragedy. Back in 1993, his best friend and fellow actor, River Phoenix, died from a drug overdose at just 23 years old. The two had met on the set of I Love You to Death and quickly became close friends, both navigating the early stages of their careers. Phoenix's death happened while he was filming Speed with Sandra Bullock, who later spoke about how hard it was for him to deal with such a loss. His life has been marked by a series of tragedies, starting from a young age. Born in Lebanon to Patricia Taylor and Samuel Reeves, he experienced a childhood full of change, moving between different schools and countries due to family circumstances. His father left the family when he was only 3 years old, which led to a life of constant moving with his mother, from Hawaii to New York, Canada, and even a short stay in Australia. The last time he saw his father was when he was 13. They spent a silent evening together before his father disappeared from his life for the next decade. But this wasn't the worst of it. Despite all these hardships, he didn't fall into the destructive patterns often seen in the lives of celebrities. Instead, these experiences have made him a person of quiet kindness, not through grand gestures, but through simple, genuine acts. Those who have worked with him, like crew members on his films, often share stories of his generosity. For example, while filming Chain Reaction, he would often treat the crew to meals, showing a level of care and friendliness that is rare among big stars. In another moment from 1997, he was spotted sitting with a homeless man, sharing food and drinks, and listening closely to his story. This humility even extends to financial matters. He reportedly gave up around $125 million of his own salary to make sure crew members kept their jobs. And in one lesser-known story, he waited in line in the rain to enter a nightclub, refusing to use his fame to skip the queue, showing how grounded he truly is. The club owner described him as a relaxed and down-to-earth person, showing off some of his most genuine moments from 2019. He amazed an entire crowd when he called them breathtaking, and back in 2011, he was seen kindly giving up his seat to someone else on a New York subway. Known for his careful and thoughtful way of speaking, he has also used his talent in writing, occasionally diving into the world of poetry. In 2011 and again in 2016, he partnered with artist Alexandra Grant to create art books that paired his reflective poems with Grant's haunting artwork and photography. A Hollywood star putting his name on poetry projects definitely drew a lot of interest and a fair share of skepticism. His romantic connection with Grant only added more intrigue to these projects. It was later revealed that he was in a relationship with Grant. He talks about his literary work in an open and humble way, presenting it as a real expression of the challenges he has faced in his life. A significant moment in his career during this time was the 2014 film John Wick, a straightforward action movie created with his former stunt partners from The Matrix, Chad Stahelski and David Lee. They came up with a simple but effective idea. What if the fight scenes were limited to what he could actually do? The action scenes in the movie had a raw, gritty, and gripping feel, likely due to a man in his 50s pushing himself to the limit to entertain others. John Wick unexpectedly attracted a large audience, and he noted that people really appreciated what they saw. The movie has since spawned several sequels, with more expected after 2025. He is loved for many reasons. In June 2019, his respectful behavior went viral when people on Twitter noticed that he avoids touching women during photo opportunities, carefully placing his hands in a way that respects their personal space. This thoughtful gesture earned him widespread admiration, with many calling him a respectful king for his considerate actions. But this wasn't the only time his kindness shone through. Shortly after the E3 convention in July 2019, while filming the third Bill and Ted movie, he made an unplanned stop to sign a fan's handmade sign referencing his earlier E3 appearance. Screenwriter Ed Solomon shared this heartwarming moment on Twitter, highlighting his genuine enthusiasm to connect with his fans. In that same year, another story of his kindness spread like wildfire. In May 2019, James Dador, a writer and producer, recounted a memorable experience from his teenage years when he worked at a movie theater. Dador tried to get his autograph but failed at first. Surprisingly, he returned a few minutes later, realizing Dador's disappointment, and signed a concession stand receipt before casually throwing away an ice cream and heading to his movie. March 2019 brought another incident that showcased his character. A plane he was on, headed for Los Angeles, had to make an emergency landing. Rather than panic, he helped ease the situation for fellow passengers by arranging transportation to their destination in San Francisco, sharing interesting facts about California, and even playing some country music from his phone to lighten the mood. Next, we uncover how Reeves' journey of loss and recovery continues to influence his life and work, weaving a narrative of enduring strength. Keanu Reeves' off-camera compassion. Keanu Reeves' kindness isn't limited to strangers. It extends to his colleagues in the industry as well. On the set of Speed, actress Sandra Bullock mentioned she had never tried champagne or truffles. Not long after, he surprised her by showing up at her home with flowers, champagne, and truffles. Bullock said this was typical of him, who always listened carefully and remembered what others liked. But this was just one example of how he consistently shows care and thoughtfulness in his interactions. She believed she had upset him, yet within a few days, he would reappear with either a thoughtful note or a small gift, explaining his thoughts on their last conversation. Moreover, he contributes substantial sums to children's hospitals globally via a charitable foundation he established to aid ailing children. Remarkably, he chooses not to publicize his affiliation with the charity. In a 2009 interview with Ladies' Home Journal, he disclosed that the foundation had been supporting pediatric hospitals and cancer research for about 5 to 6 years. He expressed a preference for keeping his involvement anonymous, allowing the foundation's work to speak for itself. Despite his global fame, he maintains a down-to-earth demeanor, enjoying roles such as voicing animated characters in Toy Story 4 Inches and portraying a heightened version of himself in the 2019 Netflix romantic comedy Always Be My Maybe. During a 2019 appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, when Colbert inquired about his views on the afterlife, he responded earnestly that those who love us will miss us, a sentiment that touched both Colbert and the audience. Even with his celebrity status, he remains unpretentious. In 2019, when addressed as an internet boyfriend, he displayed indifference. Film critic Hannah Enos Flint revealed on Twitter in August 2019 that during an interview he praised his John Wick 3 Inches co-stars, martial artists Sasep Arif Rahman and Yayan Ruhian, so highly that he advocated for their characters' survival in the film, impressed by their formidable skills. His generosity extends beyond his actions. Known for his financial sacrifices, he has taken pay cuts to enable the inclusion of talented actors in films like The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, thereby enhancing the movie's budgets for costumes and special effects. In 1997, upon learning that budget limitations might prevent Al Pacino from joining The Devil's Advocate, he accepted a significant salary reduction to ensure Pacino's participation. One of his most celebrated gestures occurred during The Matrix filming, where he gifted Harley-Davidson motorcycles to the stunt team as a token of appreciation. In January 2022, The Hollywood Reporter highlighted another of his generous acts. He covered the expenses for a private jet, hotel accommodations, and premiere tickets for his close circle, including a post-premiere brunch. This group consisted of personal trainers and his professional team, confirming his habit of ensuring his acquaintances are part of his professional milestones. Despite personal adversities, he continues to embody kindness and altruism, often prioritizing others' well-being over his financial gains, a stance that occasionally clashes with Hollywood's elites but endears him to the public. As a result, his upcoming schedule, including movies and a TV show, is bustling with anticipation from his fans. Among these projects is his role as Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, set for release in December 2024. The story follows Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles as they face a new enemy, Shadow the Hedgehog. At the same time, the fifth installment of the John Wick series, known as John Wick 5, is in the works. It's still unclear whether he will reprise his role. Lionsgate is actively involved in this project. Additionally, a spin-off called Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, is set to be released in 2025, with him expected to make a brief appearance as John Wick. A live-action movie based on Berserker, a comic series co-created by him, is also in development. In this film, he plays an immortal character working for the US government. Netflix is handling the production of both this movie and an animated series to go with it. Moreover, a sequel to the 2005 film Constantine, Constantine 2, is being planned. He will return as John Constantine, and Francis Lawrence will direct. This movie is separate from the DC universe managed by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Another movie, Rally Car, features him as a former NASCAR driver who enters a rally car race across China. Although the project started in 2017, there haven't been any new updates. There's also a TV series called Rain, based on Barry Eisler's John Rain novels, which has been in the works since 2014. In this series, he will play John Rain, a hitman who makes his eliminations look like natural deaths. However, production hasn't started yet. But this wasn't the only project keeping him busy. A vigilante superhero movie called Past Midnight, directed by Rick Fuwa, is set to be released on Netflix. This project has been in the planning stages since 2018, but there haven't been any recent updates. Another film, Good Fortune, a comedy by Aziz Ansari featuring him alongside Seth Rogen, Keke Palmer, and Sandra Oh, began filming in January 2024, though the storyline is still a mystery. In Outcome Dinner, a dark comedy directed by Jonah Hill, he plays Reef Hawk, a former celebrity who is being blackmailed. Filming started in March 2024, with Cameron Diaz and Matt Bauer also joining the cast. It's scheduled for release on Apple TV+. Meanwhile, The Entertainment System is Down, expected to come out in 2026, is in its early stages. Directed by Ruben Östlund, the movie boasts a star-studded cast, including Joel Edgerton, Kirsten Dunst, Woody Harrelson, and Nicholas Braun. But his contributions go beyond just acting. He has used his significant wealth to help others, showing incredible generosity. Despite facing many personal challenges, such as an absent father, losing his best friend, the death of his only child, and the loss of his first love, he continues to show resilience and hope. His life has been filled with hardships, yet he keeps moving forward with determination. His kind nature and strong spirit have made him one of Hollywood's most respected actors, a status he is likely to hold on to throughout his career. Should personal tragedies impact an actor's career and public perception as much as they have for Keanu Reeves? Share your thoughts and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.